you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order.
100.
Hello, all. It's Atlas and Root Beer back from BCS Anaheim 2020. I almost said 2013. What's wrong with me?
God, I wish it was
yeah.
2013.
So, unlike the first one, where I am passed out on a hotel room bed, we're back home now.
I'm like extra back home. I'm in San Francisco again in my usual setup.
Mine is a Christmas tree because it's the holidays or something. Anyway, we played Premium on day 2. Root Beer, I kind of had to drag him along because you're not really super into Premium. And you just
Look, I'm trying, okay?
Look, I appreciate the effort, at least.
The universe is trying very hard to make me not like Premium.
Yeah, so why don't we look at your deck list first, if you want to...
we'll do mine first because it's faster.
Yeah, and I have more to say about mine anyway, so speeding through this, a hastily thrown together Jewel Knight list.
Yes. And all the HoloLive fans can appreciate the deck name.
Koseki Bejewel Knights? Yeah, of course.
The Koseki Bejewel Knights.
Oh. I was pronouncing it all French-like, sorry. So, yeah, not really super a lot to notice here. Like,
this is just like the list that the other topping, like, Jewel Knights... It's an approximation of, like, other topping Jewel Knights lists, right? So, I'm running 2 of the Alt Miles, 4 Salamis, 3 Ashley.
Salami, like you get at the butcher.
2 Mirandas, because Miranda kind of sucks. It's countercharging, which is nice, but it's such a, like, specific setup to get the countercharge that it's, like...
Yeah, like, in my Alt Mile list, I think it's on this channel, I have this as a one-of, just, like, for mid-battle phase countercharging. But, like, it's such a pain in the butt to...
It's such a specific thing, and since it's designed to work with, like, Ashley Reverse, it, like, usually doesn't gain enough power to be worth spending the Counterblast on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Force it.
Sorry. I really love just Ashley's thing, where, like, all that soul is being put to a usage. To call something. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out. Continue.
So yeah, Ashley's an extender, and the Battle Soul Blast 2 call something. If it's on Vanguard, call 2 things. I didn't ride Ashley very much. She, like I said, I use her as an extender a lot during Gobblade plays, because she can just make additional attacks. We have 4 of Sybil, so she has an ability that when she attacks, you can put like a grade 1 or a grade 2 or lower card from hand to soul and draw, which I didn't do ever. And then the more important one is when another U is placed on her circle, you can look at top 3 cards, choose a grade 2 or less Jewel Knight, call it to rear guard circle, put the rest to bottom. So riding it's a way to like build a board, but also mid battle phase, it is potentially a way to extend, especially because Ashley is end of battle. What you do is like you can call something on top of Sybil, and then Sybil has the potential to call something else
on top of the Ashley, which you can then give a crit to whatever the thing is. That's pretty nice.
Which probably isn't worth it. Frequently, this would happen during like Gobblade turns when I would have 1 counterblast. So basically, just never. But yeah. Next up is 4 copies of Laylee, so the MVP of the deck. It is your main way of building Soul, because she can just recycle your normal units, which both gets your cards back into rotation because you're constantly calling over stuff, but also stops you from decking out. And then you can Soul Charge 1, and she gets 5k, which I found the 5k never helped enough with numbers, where it's like, oh, I'm going from like 20 to 25, which doesn't really move the needle that much. Like, it kind of does, because like grade 1s are 10k, but not really. Like, nobody was ever like, oh, I'm going to call like a grade 1 or an addition, like a grade 1 and an additional card because Laylee has an extra 5 now. And then the other more important thing is that, like, when placed on the circle, gets plus 10k, so Jewel Knight numbers are small because a lot of them don't gain power on their own, so calling on top of Lele alongside the Force marker means you're getting like 20k, which is big. I tended to go Force 1. I feel like this deck doesn't put up enough numbers for Force 2 to be worthwhile.
Yeah, in my like alt-mile build, the Jewel Knights were like ancillary, so I did Force 2 for aggression's sake, and then Lele's plus 10k did more of the heavy lifting there. Like it's more of a sticking point. So yeah, differences.
2 copies of Cataphale, so ride fixing, also an extender. Not that the ride fixing helped, we'll get to that.
This is the second best one in the game, I think. Only surpassed by the Gold Paladin one, which is like, it lets you call 2 things off the top 4. And
the Aquaforce one is also just like a restander.
That is nice. I just know that these always, like, even if yours sucks, you still kind of run it as like a 1 to 2 of. I certainly did that on my list, which you'll see later in the video. And it was literally just for the digging. Like, they're just so useful.
So they're in different places because I've had to play different rarities because I threw this together last minute, but I'm playing 2 of Sisyphus, 2 of Altmile, so that's just for the early stride package. The deck does okay, like, going first with just, like, Ashley plays. Definitely can't do anything with Salami going first. I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I didn't feel great going into Godblade makes a lot of attacks, but, like, in terms of hand size, it doesn't help much with, like, gaining advantage. Like, I never felt like coming out of my first stride, I never felt, like, great defensively.
Yeah,
so
like,
it was weird. Like, I feel like I want to go... What?
Even if you tried to alt-mile them, like, going first, it didn't really put you on the upswing, or...
I could, like, I got a lot of damage in, but then they would just, like, clap back, and then I wouldn't feel like I was in a very good position after that. So yeah. And then triggers were just running, like, 8 crit, 3 draw, OT. It's the blue OT. That one's just like a crit, but also, more importantly, just getting cards back. Sanctitude, and then, yeah, 4 heals.
And the G-Zone, not a lot really seemed especially...
yeah, it's just like Godblades for the early stride, Eulogius for Mega Colony matchup, but also, like, I'm thinking that maybe, going second, instead of trying to do, like, Alt-Mile into Godblade regardless, that perhaps Eulogius is worth doing just as, like, you can probably get to 5, you just need to have 3 rear guards, and then you can, like, get the force marker. Although, it is probably, like, less attacks if you do it like that. Because then you're not, like, calling over your units. Like, you have to commit. Yeah, you have to, like, commit a lot to the Eulogius play, which is... But also, I never went second in any of my games. And then 4 Crystal Luster, because Crystal Luster's broken. 2 of them belong to Atlas, so next build of this probably only has 2 copies of Crystal Luster, because that's what I physically own.
Yeah.
I did feel like I needed some sort of board recovery. I ended up in a few games where I didn't have boards. Which is why other lists were running Aerial, Divine Knight, Alt-Mile, which I don't love because the only extender in this deck is Ashley, that's a grade 3, so you can't get it off Alt-Mile, and Cataphale, which needs a booster. So, like, I feel like it doesn't actually do very much in a position where I don't have a board, which is what you would want recovery options for.
And speaking of things that don't work when you don't have a board, the G-Guards are terrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all the G... I hate the Royal Paladin G-Guards. All of them are just like, if you have a board, you know, if you have, like, a unit in the front row, do something. And, like, my second match was against Narukami, so, like, that didn't happen. My third match was against Messiah, so that also didn't happen. So I was just sitting there with these, like, useless G-Guards, and I'm just like... And then there was, like, one time where, like, I knew I was going to have to, like, intercept with one of my units because of the, like, G-Guard that gives the thing, like, the perfect guard ability. So I was sitting there with 2 heal triggers in my hand against Raging Form, and I'm like, I have to do this ridiculous thing where I'm, like, 2 passing the Vanguard, using Mask Gall because I only have like the one unit in my front row, and then like the next attack after the Vanguard, I have to like do the perfect guard thing.
Yeah.
It was like such an awkward way of guarding it.
It's not fun. What, like, on the first day where I had forgotten my wallet and wasn't able to play standard, you sent me on a little quest for Neonectar stuff, broken toys, and cyclones. I was able to find the cyclones and one of the broken toys, but I couldn't find the Neonectar thing that you were looking for. Would you have preferred to play that instead of this, or?
I mean, I wasn't practiced with anything in Premium, but like probably. Neonectar has real G guards. That's the thing that's putting me off of this deck. Really, was the like defensive ability.
Yeah. Like the Jewel Knight engine is so internally consistent, but like everything around it is just there's no infrastructure there. Like I've been complaining about this
obviously
forever.
I'm also like missing certain important cards, so like grade 1s there was a really old card, I don't have the name of it, but it's just like on play, if you have 3 or more Jewel Knight rear guards, you can like counterblast, reveal a grade 3 in your hand, call a grade 3 Jewel Knight from deck. And so that's a way for you to like get to Ashley, which then gets you into more attacks. There's also like Sword Me, which I don't own because the fucker is $20 still.
Sword Me. I forgot about Sword Me.
Yeah, so those are also places where it's like, I can't build a board right now with this particular list because it was like kind of half-assed. And like the V version of the deck doesn't really do board building.
It just kind of it fixed the one problem of calling over stuff. For like, you want to multi-attack, you gotta call over stuff, and Jewel Knights are like, we're cool with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I just kept running into I kept running into situations where I like couldn't make a board. There was like one time where I didn't have any counterblast and couldn't do anything because I already used my Gobblades.
And that's what Aerial Divine Knight Alt Mile's for, I guess.
No, like Alt Mile didn't do anything in that situation. Like really what I needed was to have ridden Ashley and then copied it with Crystal Luster.
That's a good one to do. Definitely. Call 2 things. Yeah, so wait, what were your matchups for the whole day?
Round 1, I played against Regalia. So they went Force 2, kept restanding their Vanguard with like Norn, and then like also like the Minerva could restand itself. So that was fun. But then they hit OT and couldn't attack with their rear guards because they had like 2 cards in their deck. I don't know. How does the ruling on Minerva's restand goes? Because when Minerva restands, she gives like drive -3 to all units. But like, does that still apply if they didn't stand anything? I want to say yes, but I don't know.
I gotta read the exact wording, but keep going.
But yeah, that's what happened. Is they stopped attacking because they like got the Keter OT and like couldn't attack without decking themselves out.
Right.
And that's also why like I don't know if the Minerva like taking away drive. So it's when this unit attacks, pay the cost, and if you do at the end of that battle, stand all of your units with Regalia in their card names, and they get drive -3 until end of turn.
So on paper, it seems like they wouldn't have drove checked then.
Yeah, because if they just didn't drive check, I was dead. Like I could not guard all of their attacks, but like they didn't do that. So I went into Crystal Luster, made a million attacks, and I think they like overthought it because they used the G that was like crit -2, and I didn't have any crits in my deck, so I was like, I'm not gonna restand the Crystal Luster because that's just like pointless. And so, but they assumed that I would and guarded badly because of it, and so they eventually had to take a damage and decked out.
I think in both of those cases, the opponent was just kind of like shorthanding. So the drive -3 to everything doesn't really register to most people because your rear guards don't attack or don't drive check normally. And then in the thing where he assumes you're going to restand, he just kind of assumed you would, and then you're like, well, then I'm not going to. And that seems like they bungled themselves into deck
They,
out.
like-
Well done.
Yeah, they like fumbled into deck out. And then game 2, I played against Gauntlet Buster. They like didn't stride or anything. They were just playing Gauntlet Buster.
No G zone. I'm flexing on everybody. No,
I mean, they had a G zone. I mean, they never G guarded though.
I know,
Like, they
fuck
just-
with you.
They were just playing like a fun build, for fun build, right? So I lost that one because I like guarded improperly. But also, this was when I ran into Royal Paladin G guards suck ass because Gauntlet Buster wipes your front row.
Yep.
And what is one thing that all of these G guards have in common?
I'm not doing it again. Sorry.
Yeah.
I found that like at least against Narukami, the it's counterintuitive, but is to like put the screws to him as hard as you can.
I would have loved to have done that, but I also
Yeah.
whiffed my grade 1.
That is a problem.
Yeah. So that was one where, like, by all means, they had me dead to rights when they went descended on top of Gauntlet Buster, and I had no PGs. I just happened to hit the over trigger first damage.
Mhm.
And then, you know, next turn they went to Gauntlet Buster again. I 2-passed it. They broke the 2-pass because Royal Paladin G guards are ass,
Yep.
and I couldn't fully guard it.
That's a rough.
So I lost that one. Game 3 was against Messiah. I whiffed grade 1 again, going first. And then I tried to use Kata Fail to Ride Fist, and I missed grade 1 again. I hate this game. Like, I am trying to like premium. Like, I don't want to be that much of a hater. And every time, like, I just have a miserable experience at BCS.
It's funny though that none of these had to do with the OT. Normally, that's our sticking point.
No. Like, I kept checking defensive OTs the entire day.
Oh, fun. Good for you.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, that was just, like, painful. I don't think it really affected the games in the long term. I also just played badly. Like, I
Okay.
could have guarded the Gauntlet Buster, like, OT to pass. I just didn't, because I was, like, trying to conserve my hand, and also, like, if they got a crit on rearguard, I was probably dead anyways.
Gotcha.
Let's see, what else? And then, against the Messiah, I know I misplayed somewhere. I can't remember how I misplayed right now. But I think I did misplay, like, one of my turns in a way that, like, probably affected the outcome. Right, I forgot to soul charge off of Laylee.
Ah.
So, because I was, like, putting the screws to the Crystal Luster, and then they used the... my plan was that I would use... what was the grade... The grade 1 that bounces itself back to hand to, like, get the 2 soul for Ashley to call another thing. But then they
Salome,
lock-
I think it is. This gal.
Yeah.
Eunice.
Eunice.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna use Eunice to, like, get 2 soul, but then they just locked her with the one of their G guards, so I was just
Yeah.
like, if I had remembered to soul charge with Laylee beforehand, then, like, I would have been able to make an extra attack, and, like, maybe that would have decided the game.
Makes sense.
So, I just played badly, and then, game 4 was against Revengers, where I did the alt-mile thing. I also played that one badly, like, I used Califail called, Sybil, and so the plan was that I was gonna, like, Gobblade call, Ashley, and then, like, call over the Sybil, but I was being dumb about that. I attacked with the Sybil first, and then I, like, Gobblade called Ashley on top of Sybil, when really, I should have just called Ashley over the Catafail, left Sybil standing so it could take any of the triggers that I had. So they PG'd the Vanguard, I drove checked 3 triggers that went nowhere, and it's like, again, they were just kind of taking all the hits because they were building up damage for their big kill turn, but
Right.
there was also one of those where, like, if all of those triggers had gone to Sybil, that could have either decided the game or at least, like, gone through, burned through their hand, and they, like, potentially couldn't play the turn the same way.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Revengers is, like, Raging Form kind of has a limit break skill. So,
Yeah.
like, you gotta be careful when going against them to not give them 4 damage before turn 3. Afterwards, you know, it's too late in the game, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, again, I played that one badly, and I just kind of lost. But at least that one I played, like, okay, like, I know, like, missing the grade 1 didn't fully affect the outcome of the games. Like, they still ended up being games afterwards, but it was very demoralizing that it happened twice. And I chose not to G-assist both times because I was going first. And so my line of thinking was that, like, okay, well, if I G-assist, I'm down 2 cards, and then my opponent's gonna, like, ride. They're gonna get, like, Quick Shield and Guardian Shield. Like, is it worth even doing that? Like, is it more worthwhile to just, like, give up the first stride and just try to play from behind?
Yeah.
And so, game 1, I drew into my grade 1 the turn after, so I could at least get, like, the Quick Shield to compensate. Game 2, I whiffed and had to G-assist.
And that sucks.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just like, that was just very demoralizing.
Hope you all enjoyed that. Leave a like, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time for what happened to me.